Good evening. My name is Joe Bandel, and I am the last Rosicrucian. Tonight we're going to take a look at something I think is interesting, what is natural and what is taught. There is a great difference between those feelings and thoughts that arise in us naturally and spontaneously and those that we are taught to feel and think. The feelings, thoughts, and emotions that arise spontaneously and naturally are organic and truly human in the deepest sense possible. Think of the feelings, thoughts, and emotions expressed and experienced as a child, when you were a child. Which of them were natural and organic, and which were taught? Shame and guilt are examples of things we were taught to feel and think about ourselves. That doesn't come naturally. Concepts such as God, immortality, freedom, humanity, and justice are drilled into us from childhood and are not naturally aroused in an organic way, but taught to us as how we should think, feel, and act. Take a few minutes and really think about this. It's hard to put into words exactly, but it's very easy to recognize the thoughts, feelings, and actions that have a natural, organic source and those that we have been taught. A distinction. Some are artificial and others are natural. Often the things we have been taught affect us more profoundly and powerfully than those arising from natural organic sources. Why? Is that a good thing? Do we trust ourselves and our true natures, or do we trust what we have been taught? There is no easy answers because only life experience can sort these things out for us. And a lot of these things are not black and white. They may be some place in the middle. But it's a good idea to sort them out so that we know where we stand. Actually, we might even say that the more life experience we have, the more wisdom we have, and the more we learn to trust our own process. As beginners, we are more likely to trust the wisdom of our teachers and parents above our own limited life experience. But there exists a line, and when that line is crossed, personal experience speaks for itself, and no amount of external wisdom can disturb or destroy our hard-earned life lessons. Now, I want to come back to this after I'm done reading the talking points, because that's really what we should be talking about. But that only happens as we gain life experience. Modern society is deliberately geared toward keeping us dependent upon external authorities in a way that severely limits our personal life experience. Have you ever noticed that our entire educational system is calculated to produce feelings of dependency? Dependency on authorities, dependency on professionals. Instead of teaching us to solve our own problems, we are taught that we should go to the proper authorities. Once we have been taught how to think, how to feel, and how to act, we are considered adults with the expectation that we will think, feel, and act in socially accepted ways, not spontaneous, natural, and organic ways. This is the meaning of education. That my mind or my soul resonates in harmony with others, even if it doesn't feel right to me personally. The things that we are taught are alien to us and not natural to us. Therefore, they are sacred. They are sacred because they are held beyond us, above us, and require our submission and respect. They hold power and dominion over us. They prevent us from truly taking up our own power. It's a very serious thing if we don't take this thing seriously. We need to take back personal power. We need to have life experience, our own life experience. Now, that's the talking points. I'm going to get back to what I said here, which is there exists a line, and when that line is crossed, personal experience speaks for itself, and no amount of external wisdom can disturb or destroy our hard-earned life lessons. Okay, this is happening in today's society right now. What's happening is that the average person is learning not to trust the mainstream media. The average person is learning not to trust the politicians. They're learning not to trust. Why are they learning not to trust? Because of their own personal experience. They're going online. They're finding their own truth, a truth that resonates to them. And they're recognizing that they're being fed a narrative. It doesn't take... How can I say this? We are being fed narrative to sway us in a certain direction, and it doesn't matter where you go. Whether you're being swayed to the right or you're being swayed to the left or whatever, we're being fed a narrative. And the reality is someplace that our heart tells us. The reality is someplace that our conscience tells us. It's not the mind trip of these groups that pull us this way or pull us that way. Those are all external authorities that have gone into the mind. And I'll tell you something else. They're not only messing with the minds, but they're messing with the emotions. And they're trying to split the mind between the emotions. These school shootings are horrible, horrible instances. And they tug at our heartstrings, as they should, because we need to live in a world. We need to stand up and say, hey, this can't happen. We need to, and this is, we are standing up. We are believing in win-win situations. We need to believe in each other. We need to believe in humanity. That if we don't trust one another, there's nowhere to go. There's no one that we can trust. And the only thing that can save us is our hearts, to rediscover our hearts. And we learn about our hearts through personal experiences and interactions with other people. We've forgotten what it's like to interact with a neighbor, to interact with a coworker. We're gradually becoming a nation of sociopaths. We need to turn that back. We need to regain our humanity, regain our connection of heart values. Win-win situations, not eternal politics. My God. And as we gain, we're going through hard times. Everybody's going through well, I shouldn't say everybody. How do I know that? But I know so many people, myself included, we're going through hard times. And what is hard time? What? Hard times tells us things. We learn from hard times. We learn from our mistakes. And we learn that we want something else. This is important. But even more important is we need to start acting, and we need to start earning, and we need to start doing, so that we empower ourselves to create the kind of world that we want. We cannot empower somebody else to give it to us. We need to create it, we need to make it, and we need to take it away from those that want to destroy it. And I'm gonna say, I'll come right out and say it here. There's people that are being violent, and there's people that are doing violence, and they need to be stopped. And the people that are not doing violence, they need to be supported. Now, what kind of people are doing violence in today's world? Crazy people. People that have snapped. People that are living in their heads. People that are politicized. People that are religious extremists, political extremists, you name it. They're not living in their heart. You cannot live in your heart and believe that violence will get you what you want. It just does not work that way. And everybody's heart is different. And the still small voice that speaks in everybody's heart, if they will listen, will give a message of love, will give a message of forgiveness, will give a message of peace if we let it. We are caught in the opposite of love. We are caught in the opposite of the heart. We're caught in our heads. And I'll say it over and over and over again until people finally get it, because the head, being stuck in your head, makes life a hell. The head needs to be integrated with the heart. And we need to connect and reach out as human beings to human beings. As individual human beings, not as a collective hive mind that needs to believe the same thing, think the same thing, wear the same thing, act the same thing. We're individualized. We're learning how to live together as individuals. Well, I'm running out of time. I hope this made some sense. Share it with others. Have a good evening. Night.